the manifesto also highlighted that prompt action will be taken to complete investigations of political killings and abductions of journalists and others. And public sentiment is that there is no significant progress. For example, we can talk about Lasantha Wickrematunge, Prageet Eknaligod, and recently even Wasim Thajudeen's uncle publicly stated that no government so far has provided meaningful answers.
So this investigation are part of 21,000 investigations that's on the process. And the real difficulty now what we are facing is based on the date of the incident. To date, few governments have passed. Right? So the evidence and the accuracy, the missing pieces of the puzzle, it's a difficult thing to put into play.
These murders, I would say, these names, Lasantha, Wasim, Thajudeen, were used in political stages. For everybody came out there saying we have the relevant information, if we come to power, we will bring these people to task. Why did they make such statements on political stages if they did not have the evidence?
But 2015 to 19 also nothing happened. Eknaligod case was there, Thajudeen case was there. So that 4 or 5 years also nothing happened. No, we are also now taking after the same regime who took power, like before 2015 was in power for another 4 years. It's a difficult task.
You mentioned that there are allegations of opposition leader Sajith Premadasan misappropriating 3 billion rupees in the cultural front. You even said there's evidence. Why isn't anything being
done? So that investigation has been taken to place.
Welcome everyone, you're watching Conversations with Alanki. Almost 1 year ago from now, the NPP wins the election with an unprecedented mandate. There were key promises made in the NPP election manifesto, all pointing towards greater accountability and transparency. Some promises include prompt action to be taken against corrupt politicians, justice for political abductions and killings of journalists and others, Easter attack, and overall corruption. 1 year later, what is the progress made? Let's evaluate. Joining me today in this discussion is Deputy Minister of Industry and Entrepreneurship Development, Chaturanga Abesinghe. Welcome. And representing the main opposition, SJB, is Attorney at Law and member of the Moratuwa Municipal Council, Lihini Fernando. Welcome. So, given the time constraints, I'm going to get straight to it. My first question is to Deputy Minister Chaturanga. So, abolishing the executive presidency was a key promise in the election manifesto. What are the updates about this? When will there be a timeline as to when it will be abolished?
Yeah, so basically the entire manifesto carries about 1,335 promises in that sense. But if you really look at the history of political changes, this was the first time that comprehensive strategy was presented. So we are basically following up on that. In that, there was an area on legal and structural reforms this country needs. One of the biggest requirements was to have a new constitution because it has been amended many times. So in that we have clearly mentioned that we should move out of an executive presidency and move into a parliamentary system. That is one of the key policy drivers of National People's Power. So how
can I interrupt you? Do you believe that the executive presidency should be abolished?
Yeah, that is our main stance on this, because we don't feel the necessity of such power to be, because it's been abused many times.
All right.
It's just that sometimes we discussed about, it's about the person who handles it, but actually it's not the case, because a person who can handle it, we will not have a guarantee that there will be people who are competent enough to handle it every time.
What are the updates about abolition?
Yeah, just to say that our executive presidency is not in isolation. It's in the constitution itself. Everything else has evolved around it. So our discussions for constitutional reforms probably will start next year, or probably by the early 2027. because what we have promised is to what we have given this entire book of activities is for 5 years. So based at this currently, it's not a priority for us. So we have a timeline to start the discussions. There are
So somewhere around 2027.
yeah, I would say the discussions might start earlier because that has been tasked to the legal ministry. If you really look at it, their hands are very tight now because there are priority changes, constitutional changes that coming every week. You would see, right? Every other week there's a bill.
Right.
So we want to get over with them quite fast. Some of the things are very clear what we need to do, and then focus on this big reform for the country. This is not for NPP, basically. This is for the entire nation for the next 100 years, I would say. That we need to get something agreed, debated, discussed with the opposition, and take stock of historical changes, take stock of other countries' development. So there's a lot to do in that area.
Sure. All right.
But the intention is there.
Okay. So, Lihini, what are your thoughts on abolishing the executive presidency?
So I think
do you think it's a priority?
I think it's a priority because over the years, I think all governments or presidents that had come to power has spoken about the abolishing of executive presidency and has given importance to it. I think, but though Minister Chaturanga said that they will start the discussions back somewhere in 2027, I want to say that constitutional reform process is a tedious task. You need to, the conversations, the commissions, the structures need to commence, because you cannot change a constitution in a very short span of time. It's a process. We recently saw the government bringing a bill to abolish President's Entitlement Act. Ideally, instead of bringing that, they could have looked at the total holistic picture of the executive presidency per se, and had that discussion started right now in this year would have been far more prudent. But though the minister said that they want to change it, we really see whether they're also, we see that they're exercising and enjoying the powers of the executive presidency in terms of the manner in which they govern. So whether they will be sincere towards abolishing, though they stated in their election manifesto, is a little bit questionable. But all in all, I think if you are to look at Sri Lanka moving towards a progressive country, I think legal reforms and giving paramount importance to legal reforms is important, and executive presidency abolishing, the discussions must start immediately, I would say.
All right. Would you like to respond to that?
No, I think Lihini is right. I think it will take a lot of time, but at the same time, the president, the cabinet, and all of us as deputy ministers, we have a mammoth task. The ensuring the economy is stable, ensuring the legal system is stable, ensuring that there is independence in the process, and fighting against the illegal drugs and all these things has come up as very big line items for us. So I think that is where the mind time is the issue. Apart from that, I think she's right that it's better to start the conversation, but it's all about the bandwidth at this point and how we are prioritizing as a government. And I think opposition can comment. And one good thing is the main opposition and NPP is in the same page when it comes to abolishment of executive presidency and coming up with a progressive constitution for the country.
Sure. So moving on to my next topic, there are many unresolved cases. The manifesto also highlighted that prompt action will be taken to complete investigations of political killings and abductions of journalists and others. But as I see it, and public sentiment is that there is no significant progress. For example, we can talk about Lasantha Wickrematunge, Prageet Eknaligod, and recently even Wasim Thajudeen's uncle publicly stated that no government so far has provided meaningful answers.
Yeah, true. I think these are cases that which were discussed many times
on political
stages and political gains. And the fact of the matter is people have died. People have been either killed, and obviously for sure it's not natural deaths, and these were murders. And nobody has been held accountable thus far. So the problem, I would say the positive side of is that we have given a clear mandate to the CID and the relevant authorities ensured they have enough resources to start the investigation. So these investigations are part of 21,000 investigations that's on the process, and these are prioritized, and there are separate segments of cases that's been prioritized to separate teams, and each of these teams are doing it. And the real difficulty now what we are facing is based on the date of the incident. To date, few governments have passed, right? So the evidence and the accuracy, the missing pieces of the puzzle, it's a difficult thing to put into play, because we don't want to put a case that can get dismissed and entirely say that this particular case will be closed forever. So that is why there is lot of diligence and lot of effort putting into play to ensure that the right evidences are collected and the filing becomes a stronger case. So I don't doubt the efforts of the team. So we are also waiting for a better outcome as a political sphere, because we don't intervene and say, do like this, do like that. So teams have been accounted for, given a responsibility. President is very keenly with the minister, looking at it, looking at the progress. So we have to see the outcome as we go on and make check and adjustments if the outcomes are not fast enough.
All right. And Nihini, what are your views on these issues? Because so far, no government has provided answers about these political killings and abductions.
So there's a famous saying, justice delayed is justice denied.
Absolutely.
Now, the sad part for how I see is, I mean, as much as the Deputy Minister states, these killings were slogans in political stages. Before one came to power, these murders, I would say, these names, Lasantha, Wasim, Thajudeen, were used in political stages. For everybody came out there saying, we have the relevant information. If we come to power, we will bring these people to task. If they said it, they must deliver it. Why did they make such statements on political stages if they did not have the evidence? I mean, by all means, the NPP government, when they were campaigning, they said they had this many number of files. So the general public at that point believed that these investigations would have happened, and they are coming out and saying, while having the concrete information in their hand. And now when they are in power, when they say it is still under investigation, the general public who voted for the government actually questions, why were these statements made? And that must happen, and these should not just be limited to statements. So that is where I come from an opposition, and also from the perspective of the general public. Why is it delayed? I mean, we can talk about even the Easter attacks, what is happening to it. And now the people, Mr. Ravi Senaviratna, who is one of the main people who is investigating, is in there. He's one of the heads. So, I mean, he was also back in the day said that he has identified who was the mastermind behind the Easter attacks. And we saw many presidential commissions. There was a presidential committee, then a parliamentary committee, then the presidential commission, where it went on for about 214 days, where the questioning happened. About 400 odd witnesses were questioned. Volumes and volumes of evidence is available. Why is it getting delayed? And then, it was 269 people of this country died on just and there. So, me as a politician or as a general public is a little disappointed in the present government in terms of their delay and their approach towards it.
Lynn, do you think it's purposefully delayed?